Color is often overcomplicated or oversimplified, and understandably so. Color is elusive, emotional, and personal. It's also highly variable depending on the time of day, how strong or warm the light is, and what other colors are nearby. Color theory is a deep and interesting topic. We could dedicate an entire course to color theory and still not cover it all. For this lesson, I'd like to focus on keeping our color theory at a very practical level. Diving too deep into theory out of the gate can be unnecessarily confusing. The more comfortable you are with color and the more experience you have, the more you can explore complex color ideas. Understanding color really boils down to discerning subtle differences in the value, hue, and saturation of colors. How color responds to light, shadow, and other colors is something that you've probably understood at an intuitive level. Paying close attention to the colors you encounter day to day and being conscious of the temperature and value of the colors that we see on a regular basis will be your greatest teacher. I like to break color down into a simple matrix of lighter or darker and warmer or cooler. If you can mix a range of each color from light to dark and warm to cool, you'll have almost all you need to make any color you want. When it comes to a color's value, that is very simple. Value is simply how light or how dark a color is. Adding white is what you'll need to do most of the time to lighten a color. But be careful not to overuse white throughout your painting though. It can leave your colors looking chalky, dry, and dull. I'm terrible at overusing white myself. It's something I'm always trying to combat. Sometimes yellow will work to lighten a color, like orange or green. Let's see how this works by creating some value scales. I've got two scales set up here. We're going to look at how white influences a color and how yellow influences a color. We'll start with cadmium red. Be a nice color to help us see what's going on. So my goal here is going to be a 10-step gradient. I'm going to start with white and end with red, and my goal is to have an even step difference between each value. Let's give it a try. Let's start off by just going straight white here. And then as I'm gradually working my way down to be completely red, I just want to grab a little tiny bit. It's got a lot of tinting power. So we're already, with just a smidge, we're already starting to get pink. Let's add just a little bit more. So we can see a very subtle shift there. So I'm going to add just a little bit more. And each time, making it a little bit darker, a little bit redder. I want to try to avoid having big jumps in my value. I need to start mixing more red if I'm going to get to full red by the bottom. That's a little too subtle there. Let's add a bit more red. Now I'll get all the white off my brush to make sure we have 100% red here. Okay, that's pretty good. We've got a lot of water in our paint, so we see some drips, but otherwise, pretty close. I got a little bit bunched up down here, but that's okay. This type of thing takes practice, and it's something I'm a little bit out of practice on. Now let's see what yellow does to a color. We'll start out with straight yellow. And again, we'll just grab a tiny little bit. There we go. We want to get a 10% increase each time, as we have a 10-step scale here. That may be a little too much. Okay. Now, each type of paint is going to behave a little bit differently, depending on the pigments, the binders, and several other factors. Some will be much more opaque and easier to blend, and some will seem like you need to add a lot more to get the color you want. You just have to get comfortable with your own paints and see how strong they are, how much tinting power do they have, how much shading power do they have. And even when you're familiar with a specific brand, there's going to be variations within that brand as well. Okay, we're getting closer here. Don't want to jump ahead too quick. We need a little bit more yellow in there. And our straight red. So now we can see if you have red and you want to lighten it up, you've got a couple different options here, and each one is going to look quite a bit different. This is obviously getting pinker and a bit cooler, and this is getting yellower, oranger, and a bit warmer. The various values here are also going to be the different types of saturation that we have. Down here at the bottom, we have full saturation. Up at the top, we have zero saturation. The yellow is already full saturation, and the red is full saturation. So you want to be aware of what the light is doing to your color and how saturated do you want it? How intense do you want that color?